My mom forced me to cover all my tuition and living expenses while she bought my brother a lavish house, but my cold revenge threw her life into chaos. By the time I got to college, I was running on fumes. Between full-time classes and juggling 2 part-time jobs, I was barely scraping by. Some nights I'd skip meals just to stretch my budget another day, but I never complained. My mother's voice was always in my head, "No one is going to give you anything in life." Then there was my younger brother, Ben. He's 4 years younger than me, and everyone always said he was the baby of the family. My mom doted on him like he could do no wrong, but I didn't think much of it at the time. He was just a kid. By the time I graduated from college, I was drowning in debt. I had over $60,000 in loans and no job yet. I swallowed my pride and asked my mom for some help, not even outright money, just for her to co-sign a small loan to help me get back on my feet. That's when she slapped me down. "You're being selfish," she said. "You're an adult now. It's time to take care of yourself. We've done so much for you already." Her words were like a slap in the face. I couldn't believe it. I had spent years killing myself to live by their rules, to prove I didn't need anyone's help. But here I was, asking for the bare minimum, and she shut me down. I thought that was the worst of it until a few months later when I found out about the gift. It was Ben's 18th birthday, and my mom wanted it to be special. She called me out of the blue, excited to share the news. "We surprised Ben today," she said, practically giddy. "We put a down payment on a house for him. Can you believe it?" I felt like the floor had just fallen out from under me. A house. She gave him a house while I was eating canned soup and rationing gas money. She was out there making sure Ben would never have to worry about rent in his life. I didn't say anything at first. My mind was spinning too fast to form words, but something inside me broke that day. For the first time, I wasn't just angry. I was furious, and I knew I couldn't let this go. I didn't confront her right away. I didn't even know what to say if I tried. I just sat there replaying the conversation over and over in my head. Each word felt like a fresh punch in the gut. I thought back to all the times I needed help and sucked it up instead, thinking it was my responsibility, like when my car broke down my junior year of college, and I had to walk 2 miles to the bus stop every day to get to class and work, or when my laptop died during finals, and I maxed out a credit card to buy a used one because I couldn't afford to miss deadlines. All the while, my mom had the money to help. She just chose not to. I needed someone to talk to, so I called my best friend Jake. He'd been my sounding board since high school, and I knew he'd understand. "She gave Ben a house?" he said after I explained the situation. "Are you serious? Dude, that's crazy." "Yeah," I said. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here eating ramen for the 3rd time this week, but apparently I'm selfish. Jake didn't even try to hide how angry he was with me. "You need to call her on it like yesterday." It's not favoritism, it's a slap in the face. But the thing is, I didn't want to just call them out. I wanted to do something. I didn't know what yet, but I knew I couldn't let this go. The final straw came a week later when I went to visit my mom. Ben was there too, grinning from ear to ear as he showed off pictures of his new place. "You gotta see the backyard, man," he said. "It's huge. Mom and Dad really went all out for me." I felt my stomach churn. He wasn't bragging. He had no idea how this felt to me. I wasn't even angry with him, not really. How could I be? He was only 18, still living at home until the house was ready. He probably didn't even realize how different things were for me. But my mom? She knew what she was doing. When I saw her standing there, beaming like she'd just won the lottery, something inside me snapped. I didn't explode on the spot. I played it cool, smiling and nodding as Ben spoke, but in the back of my mind, a plan was forming. If she wanted me to feel invisible, fine. I'd make sure she couldn't ignore me anymore. I started small. I wanted to give myself time to figure out exactly how I was going to confront her, so I kept everything under wraps, but I couldn't just sit around and do nothing. First, I stopped visiting as often. I used to stop by at least once a week, even if it was just to say hello. My mom always acted like it was a given that I'd make the effort, but after the house stunt, I decided to let her come to me if she wanted to see me. She didn't. Then I immediately stopped returning her calls. I didn't ignore them completely, but I let them go to voicemail, sometimes for days. When I finally called back, I kept the conversation short. Polite but distant. She didn't seem to notice at first, or if she did, she didn't say anything. But Ben did. "Hey, are you avoiding Mom?" he asked one afternoon when he called. "No," I said, trying to keep my tone even, "just busy." He hesitated. "She mentioned you've been kind of distant. Did something happen?" I wanted to tell him. I wanted to lay it all out and make him see how unfair it all was. But I couldn't. It wasn't his fault, and I didn't want to drag him into it. "It's nothing," I said. Don't worry about it. He didn't push, but I could tell he wasn't buying it. The real turning point came when I went back to my hometown for a friend's birthday party. My mom found out I was in town and insisted I stop by. I almost said no, but part of me wanted to see if she'd bring up the house. When I got there, she was sitting on the couch with a cup of tea, acting like nothing had happened. "It's so good to see you," she said. "You're too busy these days." I forced a smile and sat down. We talked about nothing for a while, work, the weather, the usual. Then, just as I was about to leave, she brought it up. "Oh, by the way," she said, almost casually, "you should stop by Ben's sometime. He's so excited about it. I think it's the best thing we've ever done for him." I froze. She said it like she was proud, like she wanted to be patted on the back for being such a generous parent. I couldn't hold it in anymore. "The best thing you ever did," I said. "Are you serious?" She looked at me, confused. "What does that mean?" I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice calm. "I mean, you gave him a house, Mom. A house. Do you have any idea what I've been through just trying to survive? And when I asked you for help, you called me selfish." Her expression changed, and for a second I thought she was going to apologize. But then she said, "Ben's just a kid. He needed a head start. You're older. You can take care of yourself." That was it. I got up, grabbed my coat, and left without another word. But as I walked out the door, I knew this wasn't over. It couldn't be. After that confrontation, I didn't hear from my mom for almost 2 weeks. I wasn't surprised. She was never the type to apologize. I figured she was waiting for me to come crawling back as usual, but this time I didn't. Instead, I threw myself into work. I'd finally gotten a decent job at a small marketing firm, and while the pay wasn't great, it was enough to keep me afloat. Barely. I started taking on extra projects whenever I could, saving every spare dollar. If my mom didn't think I could handle things on my own, I was determined to prove her wrong. But no matter how busy I was, I couldn't stop thinking about Ben. It wasn't his fault, but every time I thought about him settling into his new house, our mom's house, I felt a fresh wave of anger. Jake, of course, had a lot to say about that. "You gotta do something," he said one night when we were hanging out at his apartment. "You can't let them get away with this." I sighed. "What am I gonna do?" "She's already made it clear how she feels. Talking to her won't change anything." "Then don't just talk to her," he said. "Show her." At first, I didn't know what he meant, but as we talked, an idea began to take shape. It was reckless, maybe even a little petty, but at that point, I didn't care. I decided to show up at Ben's new house. Not to yell at him or make a scene, I wouldn't stoop that low. But I wanted to see it for myself, to understand exactly what my mother had given him. When I pulled up to the address, I couldn't believe my eyes. It wasn't just a little starter house like I'd imagined. It was a 2-story house in a nice neighborhood, complete with a freshly manicured lawn and a driveway big enough for 2 cars. I sat in my car for a minute, trying to process it. This wasn't just a head start. This was a life handed to him on a silver platter. Finally, I worked up the courage to knock on the door. Ben answered, looking surprised but happy to see me. "Hey, I didn't know you were coming by," he said. "Come on in." I stepped inside and took it all in. The place was fully furnished, with new appliances and even a big flat-screen TV in the living room. It was nicer than any place I'd ever lived. As we sat down, he started talking about how much he loved the house and how grateful he was to Mom and Dad for making it happen. I tried to keep the conversation light, but I could feel my frustration bubbling under the surface. Then he said something that pushed me over the edge. "Mom's the best, isn't she? I don't know how she does, but she always makes sure we're taken care of." I couldn't hold back anymore. "Not all of us," I said. He frowned. "What do you mean?" I shook my head and stood up. Never mind, I shouldn't have come. I left before he could say anything else, but as I drove away, I made up my mind. If my mother wanted to play favorites, fine. But I wasn't going to sit back and let her pretend it was fair. It was time to take matters into my own hands. I barely slept that night. All I could think about was Ben and his perfect house, courtesy of Mom, while I struggled to keep the lights on. The bitterness wouldn't leave me alone. The next morning, I got a text from my cousin, Amanda. "So, your mom bought Ben a house? That's wild." I wasn't even surprised that she already knew. News traveled fast in our family. "Yeah," I replied. "Meanwhile, I've been scraping by for years, and she called me selfish for asking for help once." Amanda, never one to keep quiet, made sure the rest of the family heard about it. In the afternoon, my Aunt Lisa called. "Your mom's always been like this," she said, "but a house? That's a new level." Then, out of nowhere, my mom's boyfriend, Richard, called me. "Do you know how bad this makes me look?" he asked. "I've been struggling with my own bills, and she told me she couldn't help. Now she's buying houses." I didn't know what to say. Richard wasn't someone I talked to often, but it was clear he was fed up. The family gossip and Richard's complaints pushed me over the edge. I decided to put it out there. I made a public post, vaguely detailing the years I'd struggled while my mother refused to help, only to see her turn around and give my brother a house. It didn't take long for the post to blow up. People messaged me, asking if it was true. Some relatives were supportive, others not so much. By the evening, my phone was exploding. My mother had called 6 times, leaving angry voicemails about how I was dragging her through the mud. I didn't respond. Instead, I sent her a text message, "You've made it clear where I stand. Now everyone else knows too." The silence that followed was deafening, but I knew this wasn't over. The silence didn't last long. By the next day, the fallout had spread. Amanda texted me again. "Mom is furious. She's telling everyone you're lying, that you're trying to make her look bad because you're jealous of Ben." I couldn't believe it. Instead of addressing what she'd done, my mom doubled down and made me the bad guy. Then Ben called. He sounded hesitant, like he wasn't even sure he should be talking to me. "Mom's really upset," he began. "She says you're blowing everything out of proportion." "Oh, really?" I said. "Is it blowing things out of proportion to point out that she's paying for your house while I'm drowning in debt?" Ben didn't answer right away. I could tell he didn't know how to handle it. "I didn't ask for the house," he finally said. "She just did it. I didn't even know she was planning to." "I don't blame you," I said. "But do you understand how messed up this is? She acts like I don't exist, like everything I've been through doesn't matter." Ben was silent for a moment. "I don't know what to say," he admitted. "I didn't realize it was that bad for you." "It's not about you," I said. "It's about her and the way she plays favorites." "You're not the problem, Ben." He didn't argue, but I could tell he was uncomfortable. Before we hung up, he said, "I'll talk to her. Maybe I can get her to see your point of view." I didn't hold my breath. That evening, my mother finally broke her silence with a long, angry text message. "How dare you publicize our family's private business like that? Do you have any idea how hard I've worked for this family? You're ungrateful and spiteful, and I don't deserve this from my own child." I stared at the message, my hand shaking. She still didn't get it. This wasn't about gratitude, it was about fairness. Instead of replying, I sent her a text, "You taught me that I have to earn everything. Why doesn't Ben?" She didn't respond. Later that night, Amanda called me. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "Mom has been telling people she gave Ben the house because you couldn't be trusted with money. She's trying to make it sound like she didn't help you because you're irresponsible." I felt my stomach turn. I'd never missed a rent payment, never defaulted on a loan, never asked for more than a little support when I needed it most. And now she was trying to make me out to be the problem. It was clear she wasn't just angry. She was trying to save face, no matter how much damage it did to me. I realized then that this wasn't just a fight about money. It was about control, about her needing to be the one to decide who deserved help and who didn't, and I wasn't going to let her keep rewriting history. Over the next few days, the family drama reached new heights. Amanda kept me updated, and each new piece of gossip made me angrier. My mom seemed to be in damage control mode, calling relatives one by one and feeding them her version of the story. "She said you were always difficult," Amanda told me, "and that she only helped Ben because he was responsible." It was ridiculous. Responsible? Ben was 18 and had never held a real job in his life. Meanwhile, I'd been hustling since I was 15, trying to keep my head above water. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized my mom didn't care about responsibility. She cared about appearances. Her boyfriend, Richard, wasn't exactly helping her case. Amanda said he'd been complaining to people about how my mom ignored his financial problems to focus on Ben. "He tells anyone who'll listen that she's out of touch," Amanda said. It's kind of hilarious, really, but I wasn't laughing. I felt like I was being dragged into a war I didn't want to fight. Every time I thought about reaching out to my mom, I'd remember her text or Amanda's updates and feel the anger all over again. Then I got a call from Aunt Lisa. "You know, your mom has always had a way of twisting things to make herself look good," she said. "But this time, I think she's out of her depth. People are starting to see through her." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Well, Richard's not exactly keeping quiet about how she handled his money problems, and then there's the way she treated you. A lot of people think she went too far." I didn't know whether to feel vindicated or embarrassed. On the one hand, I wanted people to understand what I was going through. On the other hand, I hated that my family drama was becoming a sideshow. But Lisa wasn't done. "Your grandmother called me yesterday," she said. "She told me she was disappointed in how your mom is handling this. I think you should talk to her." Grandma was the matriarch of the family. When she got involved, things were about to get serious. I decided to pay her a visit the next day. When I got to her house, she was waiting for me in the living room, knitting as if nothing was wrong. "I heard you're stirring the pot," she said as I sat down. "Did Mom tell you?" I asked. Grandma sighed. "Your mother has a way of making everything about her, you know that. But I want to hear your side of it." So I told her everything. How I'd worked my way through college without any help, how my mother called me selfish for asking for a loan, and how she turned around and bought Ben a house like it was no big deal. When I finished, Grandma didn't say anything for a long time. Then she shook her head. "Your mother has always had blinders on when it comes to Ben, but this isn't right." I didn't know what to say. Part of me was relieved that she understood, but another part was waiting for her to defend my mom anyway. Finally, she looked at me and said, "Leave it with me, I'll take care of it." I didn't know what she meant, but something in her tone told me my mom was about to get a wake-up call. A few days after my visit to Grandma's, things came to a head. I hadn't heard from my mom since her angry texts, and I'd been keeping my distance from the rest of the family. But then Amanda called, her voice full of excitement. "Grandma tore into your mom," she said. Apparently, she called her over and didn't hold back. Told her she was playing favorites, making excuses, and ruining her relationship with you. She even brought up Richard and said your mom was being selfish by ignoring his situation as well. Hearing this was satisfying, but it also made me nervous. Grandma's involvement wasn't going to magically fix things, and I wasn't sure how my mom would react. That question was answered later that night when my phone rang. It was my mom. "I don't want to fight," she said when I answered. "Can we talk?" Her voice wasn't angry this time, but it wasn't exactly apologetic either. I agreed to meet her at her house the next day, but I told her I wasn't interested in another round of excuses. When I got there, she was waiting for me in the kitchen, looking more tired than I'd ever seen her. For the first time, she seemed to be struggling to find the right words. "Your grandmother made me realize maybe I haven't been fair to you," she finally said. I didn't say anything, waiting for her to continue. Ben is so young. I wanted to give him a good start. But I see now that I should have done the same for you. I thought you were stronger, that you didn't need me so much. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Stronger? I'd barely held myself together for years. "It's not about being strong," I said. "It's about being treated like I matter. You've spent so much time focusing on Ben that you've completely ignored me." She nodded, but I could tell she wasn't sure how to make things right. "I want to make things right," she said. "I don't know how, but I'll figure it out." For the first time, I felt like she was actually listening to me, but I wasn't ready to let her off the hook. "This isn't just about money," I said. "It's about respect. You need to start seeing me as part of this family, not just a kid who can take care of himself." She promised, but I wasn't sure I believed her. Still, it was a start. As I was leaving, Ben texted me. "Mom told me you talked. She wants me to apologize if I've made things harder for you." I stared at the message for a long time before replying, "It's not about you, Ben. Just take care of what you've been given." Things weren't perfect, and they probably never would be, but for the first time, I felt like my voice was being heard. That was enough for now.